Fans of Heartland, welcome back to Next Door. You have arrived at the ideal location, whether you have been with us from the beginning or have just discovered the enchantment of the Canadian prairies. If Heartland has ever made you laugh, cry, or stare at your screen in stunned silence, you're in good company here. This channel is your haven for heartfelt recaps, emotional analysis, character deep dives, and all the little moments that make this series more than just a TV show. It's a way of life for so many of us. Today, we're diving into something monumental, something that many fans thought would never happen. We're talking about the return of Ty Borden in Heartland Season 19, Episode 1. Yes, you heard that correctly. Despite all odds, the moment we dared to hope for is finally here. Ty Borden is back. Not in a dream or flashback, but actually back, with flesh, blood, and soul. Before we unpack this emotionally seismic episode, take a second to show your love for this series and our channel by liking this video, leaving a comment with your favorite Ty moment, and subscribing to Next Flying so you never miss a beat. Whether it's Amy and Ty's timeless love story, Lou's journey as a mother and mayor, or Jack's quiet wisdom, we're here for all of it. And for you. Be sure to click that notification bell so you're always first to know when we drop new Heartland content. Now let's step back, way back, and revisit Ty's incredible journey, the heartbreak of his loss, and what his miraculous return means not only for Amy and Lindy, but for all of us who never stopped believing in second chances. Ty Borden wasn't just a fan favorite. He was the heart of Heartland. From the moment he arrived at the ranch as a troubled teen serving probation, we saw glimpses of a wounded soul searching for belonging. Over time, through countless trials, triumphs, and tender moments, Ty grew into a man of remarkable strength, compassion, and loyalty. He became a skilled veterinarian, a devoted husband, and a loving father. But most importantly, he became someone we all rooted for. He showed us that people can change, that love can heal, and that sometimes home is a person, not a place. His love story with Amy wasn't just a TV romance. It was a saga built on trust, resilience, shared passions, and weathering life's storms, together. Whether they were saving a wild horse, grieving a loss, or simply holding hands under the open sky, Amy and Ty showed us what it means to grow with someone. So when Ty's sudden and tragic death occurred at the start of Season 14, it was more than a plot twist. The Heartland community was shaken as a result of an emotional split. The show had always dealt with loss, but this felt different. It felt final. Viewers around the world were heartbroken. The barn felt quieter. The family dynamic shifted. Additionally, Heartland seemed to have lost its way in many ways. For Amy, it was the death of a soulmate. For Lindy, a father she barely had the chance to know. And for the audience, it was the closing of a chapter that had defined so much of what made the show resonate so deeply. And yet, Heartland has always known how to gently hold our pain while also reminding us that healing is possible. Adahas. Years following Ty's death showed Amy rediscovering her strength. She poured herself into her work, into raising Lindy, and into reconnecting with the land that always gave her solace. But despite her growth, there was always a lingering shadow. A part of her heart remained lost in the silence left behind by Ty. Throughout Season 18, the show began planting subtle emotional seeds. Voiceovers, dream sequences, sudden gusts of wind, and poignant flashbacks, all quietly building a sense that Ty was never truly gone. And then came that unforgettable Season 18 finale. Amy, standing in the barn where she and Ty once carved their initials into the wood. As the wind swirled and the horses stirred restlessly, she heard something. A whisper, soft and familiar. Ty's voice. Not imagined, not imagined. It felt like a promise. And now, Season 19 delivers on that promise in the most breathtaking way. Episode 1 opens not with fanfare, but with nature's quiet poetry. The sun breaks through the clouds gently as the early morning mist rolls over the Alberta foothills. Amy, as she walked through the ranch in quiet contemplation, appeared to detect a subtle shift in the atmosphere. The camera lingers on her face as she stops, slowly turning toward a figure in the distance. It starts out as a blur, a silhouette against the rising light. Her breath catches, and then clarity. It's Ty. No ploys, no vision, no hallucination. Ty Borden is alive. Time freezes. The world narrows to just the space between them. Amy's eyes widen, brimming with tears as she takes in the man she mourned for, the man she never stopped loving. Her voice catches in her throat. She doesn't dare move, afraid that the moment will vanish like a mirage. Ty stands before her, visibly changed, but undeniably him. Older, weathered, albeit alive. There's a raw vulnerability in his eyes. The weight of lost time, of pain endured, of a journey only he can explain. Amy takes one step forward, then another. Her hand shakes as she reaches out. Ty mirrors her movement, and when their hands finally meet, it's like the world exhales. Amy crumples into his arms, and they hold each other with a desperate tenderness that says everything words can't. Ty, she whispers, the name carrying years of love, grief, and longing. I'm home, he murmurs as he closes in. When that happens, it feels like time stops, hearts heal, and destinies align. The embrace encompasses not only two individuals, but also the past and the present, as well as what was lost and what has been rediscovered. But with this miracle comes a storm of questions. Where has Ty been? How is he alive? Why did he disappear? And what does this mean for the future? For Amy, it's not just the return of the man she loves. It's the unraveling of everything she thought she knew. And for us, the audience, it's the beginning of a new chapter in a love story we never stopped believing in. It's about love. It's about understanding where he's been and why he stayed away. This is the beginning of her emotional journey, which is marked by a need for the truth, wonder, relief, and heartbreak. While Amy is overwhelmed with emotion, another figure quietly approaches from the house, Lindy. She is still a young child, but she has grown so much since we last saw her. Her tiny footsteps crunch softly on the gravel as she walks toward the man she's only seen in pictures and heard about in stories. Ty turns when he hears her voice, a soft, cautious, "Mommy." Then she looks up at him, unsure. Amy kneels beside her daughter and whispers, "Lindy, this is your daddy." The air gets heavier. Lindy's young mind is trying to make sense of the situation as she looks at Ty with wide, curious eyes. Slowly, as if guided by instinct, she walks up to him and gently places her hand in his. "Are you really my daddy?" she asks, her voice soft but piercing through every heart watching. As he kneels down to meet her at eye level and nods, Ty's tears well up. "Yes, my beloved. Since you were born, I have loved you." Lindy smiles, a small, sweet, trusting smile, and wraps her arms around his neck. It's a moment of purity, healing, and unspoken understanding. A child who never got the chance to know her father now finds safety in his embrace. This scene, gentle yet profound, is a full-circle moment for Ty and a second chance for the family that was torn apart. As the family tries to process what's happening, Jack watches from a distance. He's standing on the porch, gripping the railing tightly, his eyes shaded beneath his cowboy hat. Jack has always been Heartland's steady rock, its grandfather, guide, and silent protector. But now, seeing Ty walk across the yard toward him, alive after all these years, even Jack is visibly shaken. He doesn't rush. He doesn't speak at first. Instead, he looks Ty in the eyes, as if searching for answers that words can't provide. Ty walks up to him slowly, nervously. "Jack," he says, his voice thick with emotion. Jack finally speaks, his voice cracking slightly. "I thought I buried you, son." And then, without warning, he pulls Ty into a tight embrace, strong and trembling. "You have no idea what this family's been through," Jack whispers. "But having you back, it means everything." Jack's wisdom shines in the moments that follow. He doesn't demand explanations right away. Instead, he acknowledges the pain, the joy, and the miracle of this moment. Later, when the two sit alone on the porch with mugs of coffee and silence between them, Jack gives Ty a quiet nod and says, "Whatever you've been through, whatever happened, we'll get through it together just like we always have." His words become the emotional compass for the entire family, reminding everyone that healing begins with love, patience, and understanding. Lou's reaction is layered. As she arrives at the ranch, catching sight of Ty through the window, she doesn't believe it at first. Her rational mind screams that it can't be real. He has left. She buried him. She mourned with Amy and the entire family. But everything changes when she enters the room and sees Ty standing there with Amy and Lindy. Her breath catches in her throat and her eyes fill with tears. She clings to her chest out of shock and joy. But beneath that joy is something deeper: conflict. Amy and the family have always been the fiercest targets of Lou's protection. She recalls how awful Ty's death was, how she held Amy through many nights of crying and helped raise Lindy without him. And now, seeing him here, Lou is both relieved and she is furious and tries to hug Ty tightly, but she quickly pulls away and demands, "Where have you been? Why didn't you come back? Do you know what you put us through?" The emotions are raw, but Lou isn't cold. She is devastated and seeking clarity. Eventually, as Ty begins to explain what really happened, Lou's tough exterior begins to crack. She sits beside Amy, holding her sister's hand, and whispers, "I never thought we'd see him again. Maybe there are miracles." Her hope is cautiously renewed, and she slowly allows herself to believe that the family can be whole again. For Georgie, Ty has always been a guiding light. He was one of the first people who believed in her, encouraged her, and helped her discover who she was. His death had a profound impact on her, pushing her to grow stronger, more independent, and fiercely determined. When she receives the news of Ty's return, Georgie rushes back to Heartland, skeptical but desperate for it to be true. And when she sees him alive, tired, and holding Lindy in his arms, it all crashes down on her. Georgie doesn't speak right away. She simply walks up to him, her eyes locked onto his, tears brimming. Ty opens his arms, and Georgie falls into them, sobbing. She thought she had lost her father forever when she gave him a hug. Later, the two take a walk along the trail, the same one where Ty taught her how to handle wild horses. They talk heart to heart. Georgie opens up about her struggles, her victories, and how she always carried a piece of him with her. In response, Ty expresses his pride in the woman she has become. This scene is powerful, not only because of the love they share, but because it shows just how much Georgie has grown, and how Ty's influence continues to shape her path, even after all these years. Tim always played the role of the tough guy, the no-nonsense father, the stubborn cowboy who hides his emotions behind sarcasm and discipline. But when Ty returns, we see a different side of him. At first, Tim is distant, pacing in the barn, trying to make sense of it all. He's angry, furious even. He storms up to Ty and demands answers, his voice rough and full of emotion. "You left us, damn it! You left Amy! You abandoned your daughter!" His anger is a shield, a way to protect himself from the deeper wound, the pain of losing someone. he had come to see as a son. But as the truth unfolds, and Ty explains why he had to stay away, whether for protection, survival, or reasons beyond his control, Tim begins to crack. He realizes that the pain wasn't just his, that Ty also suffered silently. In the end, the two men sit side by side in the barn, surrounded by the tools and smells of their former lives. Tim is quiet and says little, just, "You've got a lot to make up for, but it's damn good to have you back." That one line says everything. Behind the tough exterior, Tim's heart has always beat for his family, and seeing Ty return helps him reconnect with that love. As the sun begins to set over Heartland, casting a warm, golden glow over the ranch, Amy and Ty finally find a moment to be alone. The chaos, the shock, the reunions, all melt into the background as they sit together on the back porch, the same place they used to talk late into the night about horses, dreams, and family. Now, they face each other again, older, changed by loss and time, but still bound by something deeper than words: love. There's a long silence at first. Ty looks at Amy, his face a blend of sorrow and longing, while Amy clutches a mug of tea with trembling hands. She finally breaks the silence with a quiet question. "Where were you?" While her eyes are filled with pain, her voice is soft. Ty exhales deeply. "I wanted to come back every single day, but I couldn't. After the shooting, they thought I was dead. I almost was, but I woke up in a remote facility, isolated with no way to contact anyone. The people who saved me, they didn't know who I was. I didn't even know who I was for a while. I was recovering, confused. It took time before I remembered everything, and when I did, I was terrified that it had been too long. That I had destroyed everything." Amy's eyes well up again. "You didn't ruin anything. You're here now. That's all that matters." But there's still weight in her heart. "Do you know what it was like watching you die? Relating stories to our daughter because she has never met you? I mourned you, Ty, each and every day." Her voice cracks, and Ty reaches for her hand. "I know, and I'm so sorry, Amy. I can't imagine the pain I caused. If I could take it all back, I would. I would have fought harder to get back to you sooner. But I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second." Amy looks at their hands from below. "It's not just about love anymore, Ty. It involves trust, about healing, about figuring out how we rebuild everything that was broken." Ty nods slowly. "Then let's start here, together. One day at a time." He pulls something small from his pocket. An old photograph, faded but precious. It's a picture of Amy, Ty, and baby Lindy taken just days before the tragedy. Amy stares at it, tears spilling freely. "I thought I lost this," she whispers. "I carried it with me every day. It kept me alive." In that quiet, sacred moment, Amy leans into Ty, resting her head on his shoulder. There's still hurt, still questions, but there's also warmth and hope. It's not a perfect reunion. It's raw, real, and beautifully human. In addition, in that instant, they promise to fully rekindle their relationship, not just as lovers, but as soulmates who have endured the unthinkable and still chose love. I appreciate your viewing. If Ty Borden's return moved you as much as it did us, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Next Door for more Heartland breakdowns. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment. Until next time, see you in the next one.